Out the Canadian delegation this morning, we head to Ottawa, and Conservative MP James Bezan. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Marcy.
Tell us about this delegation and specifically your role in it.
So Minister Baird is going to be leading a rather small group of people, 4 parliamentarians and 4 members of the Ukrainian community here in Canada, and we'll be on the ground in Kiev Friday night, and on Saturday we will be meeting with the new transitional government that we anticipate will be announced tomorrow, and meeting with the acting president, the Speaker of their Parliament, Alexander Turchinov, and just wanting to make sure that they understand that Canada stands with them, that we support the people of Ukraine, and we're going to help them through this process as they move towards their elections on May the 25th.
You got up in the House a couple of days ago with fellow MP Ted Opitz, and I'm just going to quote part of your joint statement, but you said, quote, "Brutal force will not solve the problems in Ukraine." There obviously are many problems there, sir, but what will? What are the first steps?
Well, I think we started to see some of the first steps by bringing about the sanctions that Canada and the rest of the world brought upon the Yanukovych regime, helped to turn the tide. When the authorities that were responsible for the brutality that we saw on the streets of the Maidan, not only in Kiev, but we also saw it in other cities across Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine and western Ukraine, when those authorities and the oligarchs that enabled it to realize that their wealth and their ability to move around the world was going to be compromised, things started to change very quickly. And also, we really have to give credit to the people of Ukraine. This is about people power and democracy in action, and it had support from all corners of the world and all corners of Ukraine to bring about the change that we have now. So as we go forward, we're going to be assessing in our meetings while we're there on Friday and Saturday, and we'll be also talking to our partners and allies. I know the European Union was just on the ground yesterday with Catherine Ashton, who's their Foreign Affairs Minister, and talking to them about assessing how we move forward, what type of packages are going to be required, and in particular, you know, we need to continue to monitor the election process. We need to make sure that we lead up to that election date of May the 25th, that there isn't any gerrymandering taking place with election laws as we've experienced in Ukraine in the past. And we also have to ensure that their governance structure, their judicial systems are being revamped. And ultimately, and what most people in Ukraine have been upset about, not only about the shift away from European policy to more of a traditional foreign policy and economic policy, which started the protests, but there also have been a large outcry from the people of Ukraine over the corruption within their government and within their economic system.
Yes, yes. And speaking of that, in covering this story, we've spoken to protesters and politicians, and some have pointed to the West and whether the West has done enough to help in this situation. It's great to go over with a delegation and be there and hold different people accountable. But when it comes to money, when it comes to support, has Canada done enough?
Well, we're going to be moving in collaboration with like-minded nations, and so the world does have a role to play here, and Canada has led right from the get-go. Prime Minister Stephen Harper, as we saw from his meeting yesterday by phone with Prime Minister Cameron of the United Kingdom, his discussions with other world leaders have really set the stage on what policy the West is going to come in with to help Ukraine. Now, those discussions are ongoing, and it'd be premature to start talking about, you know, what exactly is going to happen, but everything is on the table. And I know that the International Monetary Fund is in discussions with Ukraine to help them through their economic crisis they find themselves in, the devaluation of their currency, and the instability that exists not only politically, but the instability that exists from an economic standpoint as well.
Mr. Bezan, thank you, and safe travels.
Thank you very much, Marcy.